Oh, Harish,
Hi.
can you see us okay?
Yes, yes, loud and clear.
Good. How do you like our setup? This is the first time we're doing online.
I don't know what that is, but looks interesting.
Well, many people say, am I selling handphone? Look like a,
Those are handphones. Okay,
yeah, those are actually Nexus 5. We were using them to do some testing last time.
okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we were testing them, all connected to the Wi-Fi and streaming like movies onto them. So I had 150 phones here.
How many? 250?
150.
150. Wow.
So this is actually in my office.
Yeah.
So I have Max Lawrence with me.
Hey, Max. Yeah.
I don't know. So I think we can start with casual chat first. Maybe give another 50 minutes before.
Sure.
So I think you can see we have 6% online. Zach is still on a conference call with his team. So he should be joining us soon. So he finishes. We can't see you, Zach. Yeah, so we're actually in our office. We are trying to keep below 5, but there's 3 of us here now.
Don't tell me anything. Nobody needs to know.
I think less than 5 is okay. So just today will be just 3 of us. Yeah. Oh, Zach. Ah, you finished the call.
Yes, I finished the call.
You cannot. You're too close to me.
The big table.
Okay. You can. We have budget 3 too. Oh, Mario is here.
Mario.
Hey, Mario.
You're still muted. We cannot hear you.
Unmute you.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone.
Hey.
Yeah, thanks for setting up this event.
Oh, no problem. It's the first time we are trying it. Unfortunately, we have to start drinking. It's a bit early for you. Or never too early for German.
No, it's midday already, right?
Midday, so never too early. So it's actually okay. Lunchtime drink.
But they don't have a day off tomorrow.
It's okay. Yeah. Someone is like walking.
Say again?
No, someone just joined and he's walking, although his audio is not connected yet. It's actually so. I think for our meetup group, we haven't had a chance to meet since the beginning of this year. So this is actually our first meetup in the year 2020. We've been waiting, and then a few days ago, we just said, we don't care. We just have to do. This is the new norm. So we figure we'll try to do a virtual event. Very glad to have you all join us. Who's there? Ho Fang.
Yeah, that's the little girl is Ho Fang.
Yeah, the girl.
Hi, Ho Fang.
Yeah, this.
Yeah, the FOSSG present.
Yeah. So Mario, you're still in Berlin?
Yeah, so I was, when the whole thing started, we decided to stay like, a bit more in Singapore. We stayed 6 weeks in Singapore. And then it became more serious in Singapore as well. And there were still flights. So we went to Berlin.
Got the last flight.
Actually, KLM and British Airways are continuously flying. So Singapore is one of the few spots in the world where always connections.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
But I guess it's a one-way flight now, so you can go to Berlin, but you cannot really come back.
Exactly, except if you have a special like thing from the Singapore embassy. Yeah. So we'll see. How are you guys doing? So you're in the office, yeah?
Yeah, I'm still in the office. So I think today the big news was that Singapore Airlines lost like $1 billion in second quarter. So those that do not know me probably do not know that I'm in the aerospace in-flight business, which actually since the start of COVID is no business. So the aerospace and travel business, their tourism, I think are very badly affected. Yeah. So take it as a break. Give me more time to do other stuff. Mario? I mean, I think too many drink. Max, how about you?
For me?
Yeah.
I'm working from home, as I think most Singaporean companies are right now. So we are heavily incentivized to not go to the office. Even if you go to the office, right, I think most are restricted to a very small number of people. So you have to have like rotations. You can only come in every other week. So I think since Singapore has like amazing internet connections, working from home isn't too bad. Food delivery is still working, so it's just boring, but it's okay.
Yeah, I'm now Iron Chef, so I've been cooking 3 meals a day since phase 1, what we call Singapore phase 1, where they close all the dining. So now with phase 2, I can take some days off. Zach just joined us, by the way.
Yeah, so I'm just finished my conference call with Bulgaria. So yes, I'm working officially. My company is going to work from home until 1st of October. Then we'll take a stock check to see whether are we going to continue working from home like what Google is doing until next year, June or whatever, right? So yeah, pretty much conference call whole day long until late at night because I cover Singapore all the way to Bulgaria.
I think Harish has a very busy past few months.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yep. I think what I will save Harish experience maybe for the next month. I don't know. You can feel free to share a little bit. But I thought probably you have enough to occupy a whole session next month.
Yeah. Yeah, we can certainly talk about stuff. That's not a problem.
Mario might not know. So Harish was actually in the.
No, I think Mario knows.
Oh, he knows?
Of course, I know.
Of course he knows.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
He's one of my supporters.
yes, of course I am.
Ah.
So how's the status of the politics now in Singapore, Harish?
You're a Tanjong Pagar resident?
Well, we kicked butt, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got almost 40% for a 1-year-old startup. On demo day, we got 40% of the market share. So, from an incumbent. So it shows that there's opportunity. Yeah. So now to build it up. So it'll be kind of fun.
We'll be more prepared for them.
How about the rest? Anyone want to share the experience during this time?
Some part of it on Telegram already.
What's that? Bear? That
ACJC bear.
ACGC.
Oh yeah, this is my JC. I bought this in fun fair, so was supporting my own school. So yeah, that's how ended up with it.
Okay.
ACJC?
Are you also from ACGC?
Yes, I'm from ACJC. Yes.
Wow, fellow schoolmates here.
Yeah. Yes. I still have the Founders Day Cup or something from ACS long time back. Yeah. I'm still using it at home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, Daryl, you mentioned on the Meetup group, you
Yeah.
said something about deciding on whether to continue with Zoom or to go to Jitsi or blue
Big blue,
whatever,
big blue button. Yeah, yeah. This.
whatever other what do you call it? Can you brief us on that, please?
I so of course we just decided on this virtual meetup like 3 days ago. So yeah, we didn't have time to set up like our own open source services. So I think the two most well known actually for video conferencing will be Jitsi and this big blue button. I think Harish also shared in a Linux Telegram group that I think you have used the big blue button. Yeah, so we just didn't have the time to set it up ourselves and actually try it and
Well, I have a Jitsi running on my system sitting at the back there.
right.
It's a Intel NUC with 16 gig of memory, and it's running RHEL 8 point whatever, 8.2, 8.3. But I put the Jitsi inside a VM for that purpose, so it is directly connected through a VM and out through the ISP. So it works. I mean, it does the job extremely well. I typically have about 20, 25 people on it,
I see.
and no issue at all.
So
Actually, very easy to set up. I mean, that's the thing. It
okay.
was very, very straightforward
Yeah.
to set up. I didn't do big blue button because it was got to do. No, it just I forget what the reason I didn't. It was just I wanted to get something going first, and I thought, okay,
Right.
because this was on my to-do list for a long time. So eventually got it done, and so there you go.
Yeah, so we just settled on using Zoom because it's a commercial service. We know it works. So
Well, Jitsi is also a wonderful service, and it works. So
I think,
have you?
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no. As how does it compare with a big blue button? Like, what's your?
no, big blue button has got a lot more things. It's meant for
Okay.
a lot more classroom type of environments and so on. So the Guadec event conference was last week, and they had it over 6 days, if I'm not wrong. And there are some design constraints within Big Blue Button, but it works. It worked. I mean, breakout rooms and shared what do you call this whiteboards, and yeah, it's reasonably it works. I don't know how many people were attending the Big Blue, but I mean the Guadec conference last week, but it was held over 6 days, if I'm not wrong. So
yeah, so maybe I can add something here. So actually, Big Blue Button needs a lot more resources. Yeah, also like a server. In regards to the server, I think you need 8 cores to set up the minimum. So Jitsi, it's more lightweight.
yeah.
Yeah. So right, that's a main difference. But
So
like
my Jitsi is actually sitting in a VM that is with 8 gig of RAM assigned for the VM, and that is a NUC. It's an Intel NUC, 16 core, 16 bits, 16 gig for the base OS, and 8 of it for the VM, and and I'm connected to the 1 gig fiber. 25 people doesn't break a sweat, which was quite amazing to me. It's like, wow, no shit, it just works, and it's very nice.
Yeah. So maybe for the next one we can try and go for it.
You're welcome to use it. Use mine or use any other Jitsi system anywhere.
Sure.
I did set up. I did not set up on that Jitsi instance the ability to record because I use. I mean, I pick and choose for what I want to do. It's mine, so I decide what I want to do. I didn't want to do a record option because that would mean I need to set up storage and all that. Screw it, I'm not going to bother with that. So I choose to record when I choose to record, and then I record it elsewhere. So that's easy to do. In fact, they do have an option in the Jitsi for me to set it up such that you record directly to a Dropbox, which is the their option actually to record it directly into Dropbox. Okay, so
Okay.
that's another option as well.
Is the number of participants going to be a problem? Going to be a problem for us if we, let's say, don't use a server, if we just use Jitsi's infrastructure itself?
You can go to meet.jit.si, and that is running on at some data center somewhere in Europe. And I think, I have used that as well. There is actually a limit to how many Jitsi can support. I think it's 75 at the top. I have never reached 75. Mine
That's
topped out at
pretty
about
good.
25 people.
Actually, that's pretty good because
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
most of
even,
the stuff, that's sufficient. Yeah.
I mean, during Force Asia, I don't think we had that many people.
Oh, I mean, this time around was an odd case, right? So it's a different scenario.
Actually, what we are doing now is that we are also live streaming on YouTube. So
Yeah.
one way is we don't have concurrent so many video participants, and if we have a lot of users, they can.
So that's what Jitsi offers as well. So you set it up, and you can set up where you want to stream it out to, so that it goes out onto YouTube. So then the only challenge, the reason it works, it's just that it's a bit awkward, because if you're going to have a Q&A, for example, then somebody has to monitor the YouTube chat as well for Q&A, and also the Jitsi. Like, for example, even here, right, you're streaming it out onto YouTube. So if somebody is going to have on YouTube ask questions, if there are, and then you have to do that collaboration there, which somebody has to do it. That's basically what I'm saying. It's not impossible. It's something that needs to be done.
Maybe I sent to
someone to read it out.
What's the one? Oh, the
this is
YouTube.
the YouTube stream channel.
Oh, okay.
The other thing I'm finding is that on my laptop is pretty old, so while it's doing everything, is video conferencing, and I don't know if like the live streaming to YouTube also take out a lot of system resources.
Well, I found the receipt to my laptop last night, and I found out that I bought it in 2011. So it couldn't be as old as mine, right?
Not able. 2012. Okay.
Okay.
Interesting. The lag in YouTube is quite significant.
Yeah, so I think it's about 5 to 6 seconds, I think, if I'm not wrong.
There should be some,
because it has to come out from here, go over to YouTube. They have to render it into their environment. Yeah, it's about 6 or 7 seconds.
Once I upload to YouTube, then I think they have to transcode to whatever YouTube output stream. Okay. So I don't know how much time. You want to start off with your
I'll start off with
presentation.
My presentation. Okay. Hope it works.
Okay.
You can see our screen. That's good.
Okay. So basically, Zach has prepared like some sort of a open source news update.
It's just some of my random open source news which I pick up more arguments with my friends, and I find that it's interesting. So I just put it here so that you all can take a look, and you can have a further discussion itself. So open the slides, hope it works. Yes. So with regards to geopolitics, right, about Huawei having issues with everywhere. Yeah, so there's one recent news about this Rakuten Mobile proposing to use open source to replace Huawei. So I'm not too sure how far it will go. If anyone has more information on this, because Huawei is not just software, and there's also a lot of hardware. I'm not too sure in terms of open source hardware, how much can you like replace like 5G networks, or even if you use software-defined radio and things like that, how would that work with 5G itself? So this is where some of the discussion I had with my friend, which I find interesting. But so far at the moment, I think everyone is struggling, because the other two major vendors will be Nokia and Ericsson, and I doubt that they have the capacity to serve the whole world, unlike Huawei. Like it or not, Huawei has lots of capacity really to churn out with all the antennas and all the 5G gear really cheaply and in great amounts, right? So yeah, if anyone has more information on this, then it'll be great if you all can share it. Yeah. So if you have, you can just quickly chip in. If not, I'll just go through the list, right?
I just additional info. So I think Singapore has selected the Ericsson and Nokia.
Yeah.
So I think they were fighting quite hard with Huawei lah. But I think Singapore has awarded to
But
Ericsson.
Lee Hsien Loong, I think yesterday or the day before that, this live streaming on YouTube, in an interview, he was saying that there's no exclusion in terms of excluding Huawei for future 5G stuff. It's only the current one. Current tender, which they chose Nokia, Ericsson, and not Huawei. But he says that we are still, Singapore at least is still open to Huawei. So this is the interesting thing. I'm not too sure whether is there going to be a next phase of 5G or maybe to the edge side, maybe you can put Huawei here instead of the central core, right? Yeah, so that's my gathering from all those discussion and debates with my friends. Yeah, the second one, if you can see a date, so I put the date down there so you can actually see, right? So 13th of July, Microsoft said that they're not going to produce official PHP builds. So this is interesting after Microsoft putting in so much effort into the PHP side, then they decided to drop it. So I guess they are trying to save in terms of their resources rather than redesign everything. Now they are trying to push the Windows subsystem for Linux, and hopefully that is robust enough to run your own, bring your own PHP code or containers and stuff like that. So this is the interesting one. So officially, Microsoft is not going to support PHP. If you want, you need to bring your own code and probably run it in the Windows subsystem. Yeah, so this is the interesting one in terms of the developers, because I know PHP is a lot of fans out there. Yep. So the next one, Trace Together. Well, this is a huge debate in the Telegram chat groups and things like that. I hope most of you are inside the FOSSG and also the Trace Together Telegram group, so that you all can join in the debate. So 6th of July, I think our Minister Vivian Balakrishnan and our 4 open source proponents basically went in and took down the Trace Together gadget and basically tear it apart and say that at least the Trace Together gadget does what it does and not anything else, which is good. So yeah, we have Harish and Harish here. So maybe if you have any comments, you can I think you're the only software guy down there, right? Roland, Sean, and Bunny is actually doing more on the hardware firmware side of things, right?
No, that's not entirely true, lah. I mean, everybody, we all, we all do both of the stuff. But Sean does a lot more of this. From Sean's perspective, he does a lot of the software for almost all of the projects that both he and Bunny work together. So like the Novena laptop and all those things. The software guy is Sean, so he's the one who does the software. But anyway, this particular thing, I mean, the app itself, as you already know, we got it open sourced in April. I mean, right now I'm kind of pissed off with what has happened, but that's a different conversation. But the hardware, when it was announced that the hardware is going to be created and shipped out to people, I reached out directly to Vivian again, because the first time when the app was created, I reached out to him and said, open source this, because otherwise I don't trust what you guys doing, and trust is the best way forward to build anything in this case. To his credit, he agreed lah. So fine. So we moved forward and got that going. So the same argument again I made, because we don't know what else is going to be inside this piece of hardware and so on. So so he invited myself and Sean and Roland and Bunny over to IMDA. And it was an interesting session. They basically, I think there's some videos and photographs that were taken.
Yeah.
We were told that we can take all the free pictures we want, but not to publish it until they say okay. And there was a reason for that, because the tender for the project, I mean, for that device was supposed to close early part of July, either end of June or early July. And then when that time passed, there was no update again from IMDA. And then a week later into July, they said, well, it has been postponed. So I don't know what the status is, but you know, there are pictures and stuff that we took. I mean, I shared everything that I've taken with IMDA. Say, these are all the things I've took. Is there anything you can that you tell me whether I can share or don't share? And they suggested a few things not to be shared yet at that point in time, some videos and all that. But anyway, the piece of hardware is there's some design constraints in that. The design constraint that they're working on is a device that is battery operated, not rechargeable battery. This is a button cell battery, and it has to last at least 9 months. So if you're going to have a device that is going to last 9 months with no USB charging, you know, it's a little slot where you put in your button cell battery. It's a CR2032 or 3220 or whatever, the slightly bigger one. And that's it. So if you're going to have something like this that is going to do what it's supposed to do, which is essentially do a simplified protocol of the Blue Trace protocol that the Trace Together does. Simplified in the sense that the amount of data that is good is actually, Blue Trace already has got only about, if I remember right, is 60 or 80 bytes per exchange of info between two devices. I think this is slightly less in this case, but it is still interoperable with the app. So if you have an app and you have the device, they can interoperate and exchange the fact that they are in contact. So so there is that aspect, Bluetooth broadcast. So when you look at the chip, I mean, the board is about 1.5 cm by 1.5 cm square. So it's a kind of a squarish board. There's not much in there. There is one real-time clock on it. So there's therefore a battery to support that real-time clock. That is not the same battery as the one that's running the whole thing. So there are two different batteries. And then below that is some flash memory. And so when they let us open it up and, you know, try and look inside, all those chips that were critical, they were all colored over. So, you know, so Bunny actually was kind of funny. He brought a microscope and everything, and so he had a full deck of stuff. He had his he's got oscilloscope, and you know, he had a whole bunch of stuff he brought. But in the end, nothing could be done other than just have a look at it. You know, you couldn't, you know, scratch it off to see what's behind or try to desolder it or nothing of that sort. So. Okay, I mean, it was, in the process, we did ask, you know, I insisted that, you know, are you going to publish the firmware that goes inside the device? The person who was leading the project, he is an engineer with GovTech. And from what I understand, I think later on I found out as well, that he used to work in Apple. And so he's got a very Apple-centric mindset. For good and for bad, right? His Apple-centric mindset is they're not going to publish anything. Okay, because Apple can do it, and so, you know, there's no need to publish. So it seemed to me in the audience that we were, you had Vivian sitting on one side, and he was on the other side, and he was the one basically talking and showing everything, and Vivian is sitting on one side, and I keep looking at him and say, you know, this should be opened up just like you open up the source code, right? You know, open it up and see what's going on inside. So Vivian is trying to play in the middle ground, trying to be the good cop, bad cop kind of thing. He says, well, I think it makes a lot of sense, but I will defer to my engineers. Okay, so that's your typical good cop, bad cop you know, way of deflecting decision making, right? So, I mean, the minister, hey, you can make the decision and be done with it, you know. You can certainly do that. So anyway, there's firmware that needs to go inside, and we had no access to the firmware, so you don't know what's inside the firmware. But all things considered, if you're going to have a device that's going to last for 9 months, at least, that's the design spec. You can't have any other radios other than that one radio, which is a Bluetooth radio. You can't put a GPS in it. You can't put a Wi-Fi in it. You can't put a GSM or a cellular modem inside. It's not going to work. There's not enough battery. There's no power. The power budget is so low for that. And so, just on that one thing, a little bit looking at the device, there's not much else you can do with it other than what they say they're doing. So, all things considered, I think that's fine. I mean, I think it's okay. But of course, all of these things you can easily negate if people are afraid that this is tracking you and all that. Sure, go ahead and take the device, wrap it around in tin foil, and put it inside your bag. Oh yeah, there's no off switch. So there isn't you have to take out the battery to turn it off. Yeah, so there's no off switch either. So yeah, I mean, at least the model that we saw. Okay, I've not seen what has gone into production.
Yeah. So for me itself, for the Trace Together, initially there was an app, right? So I was one of the first guys who was playing around with it. So I just give that feedback to say, hey, you need to like gamify, at least give some notice that it's working, right? So in the end, they built this counter below to show you how many interactions that you have with some other Trace Together Bluetooth devices out there, right? So similarly with this Trace Together gadget itself, right? I'm just wondering, how do I know whether is it still working or has the firmware hang and something like that, right? So is there
nothing? There's nothing to show. There is supposed to be a tiny LED on the motherboard, on the board itself. It's a blinking LED. Other than that, which I don't recall whether you can see it through the casing. I don't recall whether you can do it. But that's it. There's nothing to say that this is even working. Yeah,
I mean, there's either on the device itself, or if not, there's a reader somewhere, maybe in a shopping mall or supermarket, right? If you pass by there, ding, and it indicate that you just pass by and it works.
Well, so, guess what? That's really where the entire thing fails, right? In the sense that, I go past this place, I am here.
Yeah.
So this is your tracking without GPS.
Not really tracking you are here. I said tracking.
No, I understand. No, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. But it is going from the fact that I beeped when I passed by you to you, therefore everybody knowing that I am next to you. And you're at the shopping mall. So therefore I must be at the shopping mall. Bingo. That's it. You see, by inference, nothing else. Absolutely nothing else. So one of the things that we were arguing about with Vivian and the team was that, how difficult is it for someone to turn this into a whole bunch of Bluetooth beacons all over the place, cheap ones. All I do is collect the IDs of whichever devices they are. Actually, that's not difficult to do. It's quite straightforward to do. But the challenge at the end of the day, if I want to know whether you are there, or were you there or not, I need to then decode the ID that was captured. I have to decrypt it. After decryption, then I need to then map it to the registered name or the phone number of the user. Now, that information, the phone number or the ID of the user is only held at Ministry of Health. That is not anywhere else. It's only in one location. So you don't have it in the device. You don't have it in the piece of hardware token as well. It is not there. So, it's neither here nor there. You have to decrypt the code. So it is a public key cryptography for that, the data that's exchanged. So there's multiple levels of protection from that perspective. So if you want to do a state-sponsored actor to go after this, yes, the state-sponsored actor can go and collect as much as they want. But in order to go to the last step to find out who it is, they need to also get into the MOH servers to break it, to then get to the private key of MOH, to then decrypt the data that is inside. So, okay, it's a few more steps to go.
Well, yeah. Okay.
But I think it's a useful exercise, but I think it's unnecessary. I mean, I still think it's unnecessary. But there is a good use case. The use case is for senior citizens. That's really the use case.
Yeah.
They may not have a phone. They may have challenges in doing it. But all of these things have also the knock-on effect of a whole bunch of other devices are going to be lying around after 9 months. What are you going to do? Your e-waste goes up again. Unless there's a way to collect it back. Then the question is, if if like you said, you know, how do I know the device is working? I have no idea whether the device is working or not. How do I get it replaced? Or I fell into the toilet and you get a replacement, or you got stolen, or whatever. Are you going to give another one, or is it, or the second one you have to pay for it? Yeah, there are multiple questions here. There's a whole series of things to answer. There were no answers to any of these questions when we asked at the session.
Yeah, I think this one is like pretty much an experiment to see whether if it works. If it works, maybe in the future you can do something else. If it happens again.
Yeah, I mean, the principle is fine, but I think the execution is the difficult part.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult.
Okay, let's move to next one, Munich. Oh, this is slightly older in May. Yeah, so yeah, this is interesting one. Flip-flopping from Microsoft to Linux and now going back to open source. I think things have changed quite a fair bit. So I was talking to some of my German friends and things like that also. I think now switching open source, it also makes sense because a lot of things is in the cloud and in the browser. So you do not need like specific fact client to run on the desktop anymore like in the past. So I think it makes sense. So yeah, so it's continued to be the love-hate relationship between Munich and Microsoft and the cloud and things like that. So it's interesting that it's not back to the open source front. Yep. The next one, in January, this slightly older, Microsoft Application Inspector itself. So this one is static analysis of the code to check whether is it secure and all those things, right? So again, it's interesting that Microsoft decided to open source this thing and just play around with it. If you don't intend to use like commercial code inspector and things that you can just take a look and play around with this. Yeah, so the interesting thing about this code inspector is that basically it's designed for the cloud era, right? So this is where you can detect the different features and stuff if you use different API codes and code signatures and things that hopefully is secure before you deploy and so forth. So it's pretty neat that it's available. They can play around with it. Next, in terms of the open source side, I think in Singapore itself, I think you can just go to open.gov.sg. So it's a place whereby the Singapore government basically consolidates all these open source projects that they have. I think it has gone a long way. I mean, like data.gov.sg, when it first came out, I was basically complaining to my IDA friends that how can you just upload a PDF file and expect it to be a data source? Which application can actually ingest a PDF file with all the tables and numbers inside, right? So yeah, so they actually move on to be a lot more open. I think now they have all the APIs which you can subscribe to and pull all the live data, which is quite neat. And I think the rest is you can take a look at it. So FOSSG is also another one that is I was asking them they should have done it a long time ago because every single ministry seems to have their own forms and different look and feel. And in terms of the security policies, it's very difficult to enforce. So this FOSSG is designed with security in mind. So it's really neat so that correct me if I'm wrong, right? So basically, like FOSSG, if the data is all consolidated from the people like us, citizens, right? So those data is actually stored in an encrypted form. And let's say this department that's created this form, they can say, hey, I assign these 5 users that can access this data. And at any one time, I need a minimum of 3 users to unlock the file. So this is where you don't need to have all 5, but you can assign to any random 3 of these 5. You can actually decrypt the file, decrypt the data to get the data they want, so that they can just go on leave and they don't be harassed. As long as there's minimum of 3 or whichever number, right, the data can be decrypted and they can actually officially know that, hey, whoever accesses data and so on and so forth, which is pretty good. I think for those that drive, I think parking SG is quite neat, especially if you have a beep to say that, hey, your parking time is coming up, so you can remotely, without going back to your car, and extend the parking, which is good. I think those are friends of mine who is driving, they like it a lot.
Just a comment here. None of these the code is available, by the way. So
Yes.
it is open. That's it.
Open.
It is open
to use.
in the sense that it sits on a site called open government, open.gov.sg. None of the code is open. None of the data is open. Zero.
I think it may take a longer time for them to clear all the probably some of the legal stuff and things like that too.
Actually, if they want to, they can do it, because that's exactly what Trace Together was. If they want to, it can be done.
Yeah, I mean, I went
it can
for
be
the
done in a day. They have already done one, so it can be done in a day.
I went for the meeting of FOSSG, and basically I think it's Lee Hsien Loong's son who is handling the FOSSG. So he did have a very deep dive. I think it was also in the recorded in YouTube, going in how they actually do zero knowledge security and things like that. So I think that's quite a fair bit of heavy lifting inside. So yeah, like what you said, they could have open source the whole thing, right? Then it'll be easier. But I think let's see how whether they will do it in the future. Go.gov.sg. This one is a URL shortener. This is another one which I have requested from IDA and stuff for a long time back, right? So it's now available for use. The only thing is that I noticed that MINDEF DSDA is not using go.gov.sg. So they use DSDA and MINDEF, they still use Bitly and so forth, which I again complained to DSDA, the security guy, that, hey, if I want, I can actually have examples which I show to DSDA. Hey, if I want, I can fake some Bitly URL and redirect to a malware site, and no one will know, right? So at least with go.gov.sg, at least I can use it, can guarantee that it's from the government. So I've been hopefully DSDA will change their mind and go through this system rather than the easy way out, which is the Bitly system itself.
I think the MINDEF is, there is actually a difference in philosophy between the two organizations. They don't trust GovTech. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this one is interesting topic which I read also about the Taiwan government. So you can actually look at this Wired article, which is quite long. How they for the COVID and stuff like that. I think pretty much similar to Singapore. But then they are, of course, in Taiwan they are a lot more radical. So they actually try a lot. There's a lot more community activity, and open source is relatively bigger in Taiwan than in Singapore. So we can just read the whole article about this guy who cobbled together all those systems to track all the users securely, and yet being able to share the code among themselves and things like that. So it's an interesting long read. If you have time, you can take a look at it. Next, a bit of the open discussion now, right? So anyone down here does Ruby programming and stuff like that, right? So yeah, so my question is Ruby dead?
I think there's a bunch of startups and older companies like, hey, whatever, they bank on Ruby, even for medium-sized apps. So I think, I mean, it's far from dead, right? Because there's enough legacy code, there is enough new projects coming in. Like the buzz is gone, right? I think same as like Java level, where you can see like, the activity during the daytime for Stack Overflow for those languages tend to increase because it's like a job language now, and it's less of the, oh, this is what I do on weekends to have fun language. Yeah. But I mean, Ruby 3.0, right? They have a lot of buzz for like type checking, and there's like a bunch of discussions with the community. So yeah, interesting to see where it goes. But I think it's not dead.
Not dead,
as a no corporation would consider it.
Yeah, the buzz is gone. It's no longer the hottest language out there. Right?
Anyone out there using Rail?
Anyone using Ruby on Rail, Ruby and stuff like that? No? Okay, yeah. So for those that's doing development, right? So I think Puppet is doing their annual State of DevOps survey. You can type in your comments and into this survey, and at least worldwide, at least hopefully Singapore have some representation and stuff like that to show that what we have been doing for all the DevOps and stuff like that. So I think this slide can be shared with you, no problem at all. Yeah, so the next one is a bit more on the programming language, right? So it's interesting based on whichever survey they've done, right? Like what we have mentioned, Java seems to the granddaddy of, I mean, almost the granddaddy. C++ is of course the older language, right? But Java has still is still doing release. So it actually warms the cockles of my heart. It says, yeah, so I was one of the first Java pioneers back in 93, 94, or something like that, right? So I was doing Java alpha beta and things like that. So I was also one of the Java instructors when I was doing part of TechNet RDU, doing all the training and showcasing of Java, right? So interesting that it managed to last this long, and it has really proven itself. And yeah, I'm glad that Java is still alive and kicking. And of course, Python is the next hottest thing. I think it's more on the AI side of things. And what else do you use Python for? Infrastructure side of things? Everything. Yeah, it's like the super glue of everything.
Learning.
Let me just add something to the Java side as well. Because after the entire thing was opened up, the open source, OpenJDK, and all the related stuff around it, and part of it also done by Red Hat. Oracle is not in the picture anymore, which is great. But I think more importantly, there has been a significant acceleration in terms of how you can deploy Java apps on environments. One of the bigger challenges over the years was the startup time to start a Java file, for example, was probably in the tens of seconds, maybe minutes. Today it goes into the microseconds timing with something like Quarkus, QUARKUS, which is highly refined, so that in a container environment you write a Java app, your app starts as fast as your Python can start, or your C compile code can start. So there's significant addition. So that's probably why you see this kinds of take up rate, because it just does a job well enough, especially when you talk about containers and environments like that. So you don't need heavy duty iron to run your Java app.
Yeah, for Java, I think there's also some scripting languages and stuff like that support and run together side by side and things like that, which is quite cool. Yep.
Just to interject, Mario.
Yeah, Mario.
What is Voice Republic?
Yeah, you posted something on the chat. Voice Republic. You want to talk a little bit on that?
Because you mentioned Ruby and Ruby on Rails, so yeah, we are using it here. So I bought this platform, and it's basically something like YouTube, but for voice. It's kind of a podcasting platform. We released it as open source. Not everything is released because those guys put some keys into the code. So we'll release like some smaller components still, but like most of it is already out there. And yeah, we hope to like reboot it publicly in about 2 months. So yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Okay, good. Yep. Next, miscellaneous stuff. Yeah, open source newsletter, Microsoft source newsletter, GitHub. Yeah, so GitHub now they publicly like list out their roadmap and stuff like that. So if you're a big GitHub user, you can take a look at their GitHub roadmap and continue to expect good things. That's really, the whole map is really chock full of functions, which is really good. More good things to come for GitHub, and if you use it a lot, good for you. Yeah, I think that's all for my quick news update, at least those that I debate with my friends in different channels in Slack, Discord, or Telegram and things like that. So I hope it's useful for you guys. Yeah, maybe.
Anyone? Is there any comment?
Guys, good stuff. Are you going to be able to post any of these things in some place, or is that?
We'll share it. We'll share it in the meetup, the event discussion page.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So next, maybe Max, you want to talk a little bit about?
I could. So I wanted.
You want to share?
No, I don't have anything to share yet. That's the issue.
Or if you want to go browser to GPT.
I think it's fine. I think we can do like a 5-minute segment. Yeah. So I mean, I'm working for like a company where we do AI marketing. So we have lots of like natural language processing kind of stuff. And I think everyone now is aware that GPT-3 got not released, it's like a public beta. So there's API access. So people are doing like crazy things with it. Mainly on Twitter, you can see like a bunch of videos of interesting stuff where you can like people punch in a bunch of words and it creates like a React component based on the description that they gave, right? Like a click counter and that type of stuff.
You can find the link. You can post
Yeah,
it.
there's a bunch
on the chat.
or
GPT-3.
GPT,
yeah.
GPT-3.
Right. And
GPT-3.
yeah. And I think what really sucks for me is the model is very heavy, right? It's a huge computationally very expensive thing to run. So it doesn't run on commodity hardware. You cannot just download it, run it on your local machine. You need like a big server for it. And the second thing, right, it's not open source, probably for a long time. Maybe some other company wants that has the resources to do it. I mean, this is like a small neighborhood worth of electricity for a month, right, to train the kind of thing. You need a lot of computational power. But the model is not going to be open source, I think. As of this point, Google released the statement that they want to keep it under lock and have like a commercial service available. Yeah. So the cool thing is with the previous attempts, if you have GPT-2, you can just download like a pip install a package and can just use it, right? And what it does, it auto completes whatever text you have. So you write some text and then the machine auto complete this stuff. And it's very cool for some use cases. Let's say you want to have like the same, I don't know, a variation of like you have some email you want to write or some description of a service that you have, right? You write it once and let the machine autocomplete the rest 5 times and you look for the best option, right? This type of stuff is quite interesting. But now the GPT-3 is so huge, so big, it is able to autocomplete a lot of stuff. But there's some very interesting like structural pattern matching. So if you have like some complex patterns, it can learn those pretty quickly. You give like 5 examples for the AWS API. There's one on Twitter. And then it's like, oh, I want to have like a new server in Singapore, EC2 instance with this and this memory, and it's going to spit out the exact command, right? So the pattern matching capability is quite there. Logically, it's not that smart. You can tell it some facts and then ask something, and it's not like remembering those facts and can combine it in a smart way, right? So like most of the things it does is like very structural, inspired. And yeah, there's like a huge hype about it. On it on my server, and it's not open source. It's I think it's not as interesting.
So what is a good open source alternative that?
And the GPT-2 one is open source. You can just pip install, check the README, and it can pretty much do the same thing. It's just not as good as the GPT-3 one. And I think the interesting part for GPT-3 is that they intentionally use it to, I don't know, like for GPT-2, they use it quite in a different context. For the 3 one, they use it for like a variety of tasks by priming it. So you can create, the idea is you can create a new app with so-called AI technology where you just give an example sentence. And you're like, this is the English sentence, this is the French sentence. You give like 5 examples, and then you feed the user's input into, this is another English sentence, and GPT-3 is going to spit out the French version of it. If it is able to deduct it from the material which it was trained on, which is basically the whole internet, right? So you can build quite sophisticated apps by giving some examples how the app should work, which is, I think, the ultimate goal, right? To empower users who are not as tech savvy to use AI. Yeah, so I think it's very cool, but again,
AI as a service.
Pretty much, yes. I mean, some companies got like beta access to the thing, and they're doing some fancy stuff, and it's pretty cool. But as long as it's on the Google server, it's just not, I don't know, yeah, not as interesting for the open source world yet.
Yeah. Anyone out there? Has anyone comment?
I'm just going to add a link on the chat, which is Machine Learning for Kids. This allows you to write code using, use Scratch as the front end, and then you can then create models on IBM Watson at the back end and specify what is the, this is really meant to get kids to do machine learning. That's the target audience. So, but if you have never done machine learning, if you have no idea what that is, you want to try it out, this is a very, very good place to start. So even like the GPT-3, at some point, I'm sure Watson may be able to do something similar to that. I have no idea, but that could be something that can happen.
Anyone else out there doing AI stuff? Mario, your side. You were doing a Suzy AI, right? How's that coming along?
We're working on Suzy AI, but of course, like it's not like a comparable data set of GPT-3, right? I mean, like they have 175 billion something data, right? But basically, you know, there are different targets, and I can say with Suzy AI, we had it working years ago, but everyone knows it's a small team. And it wasn't really working on all kinds of platforms. So this is what we were working on over the last years. And currently we have an installation workshop for Suzy AI on the desktop with a selected group of people. And like every time you see it's getting a bit faster, a bit better. So I hope in about 1 to 2 months that we will have like a public workshop and show you guys how to run Suzy AI on your desktop. So we can start to have an alternative, let's say, to you know, like Siri on Apple or like others on Windows and so on. So that would be the goal, and then let people like plug in whatever algorithm or so they like, right? So guys, I have to drop out in a moment. I have another meeting, but I would like to share with you that, by the way, we are hiring at FOSSG. And yeah, if you have anyone interested, please share this tweet here that I'm putting onto the meeting notes. So basically for web developer or several web developers working on the open event project. So we needed to run it better for like, let's say, online events that everyone's using. And so we got some rather large donations, and we would be happy to get more people on board.
Okay,
yeah,
definitely. We'll help you post. Yep. In this economy, I think hiring is a good thing. We definitely want to spread the words. Yeah.
Great. So please run this event again soon. Yeah, and I have to drop out now, but like
Thank
hope
you.
to soon.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Take care. Stay safe. Again. We just want to iterate. So thanks, Mario. So anyway, we just want to iterate. This is an informal event. We're not trying to sell anything. It's really a community social event. So feel free. Don't feel so, you know, don't feel shy to speak. Okay, and go grab a drink or anything. We're actually drinking gin and tonic here. So, but if you drink, don't drive. Okay, that's the message. Okay.
All right, I got to drop off as well. I got a 9 o'clock call.
Thanks, Ari.
1 second. Okay. See you. Bye.
See you next time. Next event. Yep. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. Yep. So I think we'll move on to maybe a bit more of the fun part of the evening.
The highlight
is the highlight. I think so.
Unboxing the thing.
We call it the unboxing. Okay. So I think Zach, we can clear some space.
Clear some space.
Okay, so
let's get a pen.
So a little bit of history. So you know, so I really want to find something for me to learn about robotics, machine vision, and AI. So I come across this interesting product that they are selling on Taobao. So I just order it. And this thing arrived from China in this box. I've actually resisted, you know, it's very tempting, but I haven't opened it up. So it's also a surprise to us. And I think that you don't need to go so far. So, okay, let's see what they have. So today, I think today is only the unboxing. So I think it'll take more time to assemble this whole thing, this whole robot, and make it work. So I think after we have time to play around with it, assemble it, the next meetup, we will actually show the final product. Okay, assuming it works. Okay, so here it goes. I must say I mean, do you all buy things from Taobao? Any of you have bought things from Taobao before? Okay.
I bought a cattle actually.
Yeah,
They
packaging is damn solid lah. Wow, it's like a Russian doll, man. Yeah. Layers and layers. Oh shit, man. I think I won't be surprised the robot is actually this small. By the time I finish, I'm done with all this.
This bear might be bigger than the robot.
I don't know which side it's up though. Okay, so it actually it became 2 boxes. So it has the camera says it has some label to say it's from some company in Hunan, Changsha. Okay, so here it goes. Let's start with this box first. Now you can see that. Whoa! So you want to take a picture? Okay. This box. Warranty card doesn't mean a thing because I can't go China now. Okay. I think this is
Tracks, yeah.
yeah. This is actually the tank,
The
conveyor belt
caterpillar tracks.
for the robot to move. So it's actually like a tank. I think. Let's see the two. Okay. Wow. Okay. This is completely all the moving parts. Some.
It's actually not stretchable, so it's
No, not stretchable.
yeah, not stretchable.
Comes with some tools to screw the whole thing together. Okay. Yes. Instruction manual, very important.
All in Chinese.
But all in Chinese.
Is this the
Yeah.
Yeah. So you.
I think that's quite a fair bit of assembly required.
It's quite. I don't know. Anyone from the SAF artillery unit, tank unit can help us. It's over at the Z. Okay, so I think it's actually quite a few pages, but if you assemble everything, then it should look like something there, like a tank. So this is actually the bottom part that will be driving this robot. Oh, it's a maker board. Okay, so this additional metal plate that form the
chassis.
the body. I believe this tool is this is the motor. Let me cut it out. Okay.
This looks like a Tamiya model I used to play with when I was a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, these two, I don't know if you can see, but maybe it's nearer. So this is like the motor to drive. This is the wheel.
It's slightly bigger than the Tamiya model.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. CLB. What does it mean? Something bought.
It's a stepper motor. It doesn't rotate on its own. Yeah, it doesn't rotate on a stepper motor.
Okay. So basically, this is the mechanical part of the robot. It will probably take some time. Yeah. All right.
Ooh, this is the brain.
Okay. This is the intelligence, the brain part. Another warranty card, not used. Okay. This is the battery, pretty big. You can see, probably it's a bit easier to show here. 8,400 milliamp hour, so quite a big battery. So that's the reason why this thing cannot be shipped by air. It has to be shipped by sea. So that took about 3 weeks. Okay. What is this?
LiDAR.
This is the LiDAR. Wow, this one is interesting. You can show the.
Yep. So this is a laser scanner, a LiDAR. So instead of using sound, use laser to.
Or infrared. This is
infrared.
This is a laser. So basically, this is a 360 proximity laser ranging radar. Basically, this robot does automatic collision obstacle avoidance. So basically, it senses the distance from obstacle and it can actually avoid.
So this one spins around and shoots all the lasers over place. Wow, so interesting.
High end. So I'm building a
here 2 holes that can actually shoot out the laser.
okay. This is a Raspberry Pi 4B. Looks like the camera. This is a machine vision using OpenCV.
Probably
OpenCV.
webcam. Yeah, OpenCV.
Yeah.
I haven't played with that since uni, I think.
Oh, chrome plated.
This looks like a power supply box. Wow,
Chrome
you
plated.
can see. One by one, otherwise it coming. Okay. Oh, this is for the Raspberry Pi, the operating system.
This one is the
This is the driver
real
board.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the driver board to drive the motor.
It's a Raspberry.
No,
Yeah, but
no.
ROS.
yes.
Yeah.
This is just a LED counter. This is supposed to show the voltage level of the battery. So you know when the battery level, the battery is running out, and then you can charge the battery. It's actually a LED segment. Okay. What's inside there? Oh, that's the display. And the rest are just a bunch of cables. You can see. It's a 7-inch touchscreen display. Maybe I can show how it looks like. Oh,
So many cables.
that's why it's not going to be easy today.
2 HDMI cable, 1 micro HDMI, micro USB.
Okay, you can
It's
just show.
another fun assembling.
Oh, this thing got 2 terabytes.
You can just show this is how the machine will look.
Okay.
Oh,
is
yeah.
that a YouTube link or no YouTube?
Taobao link.
Taobao link. Oh.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hopefully you can see.
Get down.
Yeah. Okay.
So the touchscreen can control the robot, is it?
The touchscreen you can control the robot, but also you can use another mobile app.
There's an app.
There's a mobile app where you can actually steer the robot.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, the brain of the robot is actually the Raspberry Pi 4B. So on it should be running Ubuntu, and then the what they call the ROS2, which is the Robot Operating System 2, and then on top of it you can run a bunch of stuff, Python apps and all that. So basically, okay, my hope of buying this is basically for me to have a platform or tool for me to get into the ROS, the Robot Operating System, as well as the machine vision and the AI part of it. Yeah. So yeah, so this whole thing is about $500, 500 Singapore dollars.
So 1 month gonna be have like OpenCV tutorial by you?
No, it's not good. But
Workshop,
at least I can show this thing.
Yeah.
Was that anyone has any question? basically this is just unboxing of whatever we received, and I think we still need a bit of time to figure out and assemble this whole thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you the link to the Tmall page, so you can take a look. There's a lot more robots that you can buy.
Wow, fancy.
It's crazy.
You can share this.
Yeah, I shared the link already. Yeah.
Mm.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the next circuit breaker.
Okay, basically, so that's it for our unboxing.
He will find sometime assemble everything.
It's gonna take a bit of time, but it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Anyone else has? Okay, so maybe we will get it working, and then we'll see if there's enough interest, and I can maybe try to have a group buy or something like that. Try to negotiate a group buy package. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be good for the kids. Yeah, school holidays, year-end school holidays.
Learning
Right? Yeah, year-end school holidays coming. So
Yep.
it's good.
Age 21 and up.
I thought school holiday just ended.
Yeah, so
Next holiday.
next holiday. Yep.
Which
The
will be December.
September, that one week holiday, then December is the regular holiday. Yeah.
1 week will be not enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So tentatively, should we plan on using Big Blue Button or Jitsi next, or should we just stick to this? Or have you got any ideas?
See whether we
You
got
see,
the time.
maybe we try, we set it up. I think 1 month should be
It's
enough.
okay. If you want to wait and see,
Yeah.
we can also do that.
Yeah,
We can also do that. Wait
I think we should do one demo run
yeah, we'll
With
try
Jitsi
to
and
do a
server.
Jitsi and
and
see how
see if
it
we can
goes.
record and
Yeah,
if the sound works and everything, and we
Should
can
we
get the comments.
yeah.
Can we do the next one in about 1-2 months or something like that?
Well,
one
I think
month is a bit soon.
I think
You think it's a bit soon?
I think it's okay that we can do one every month, I guess.
Yeah, it's just an informal one, so
Yeah.
so that you don't need to take up too much time to
Yeah.
set up things. So informal one will be
Why
easier.
don't we put that as tentative for the time being? If we need more time.
Yeah, we can do it. Normally we said we're gonna do it last Thursday of the month. So we'll do it last Thursday of August. Yeah, 1 month for us should be fine.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
You
Let's
know,
put it tentative.
It only takes max a few hours or less, 1 hour to set up.
Okay. 8 to 10, right? Or whatever.
Yeah, probably 8 to 10. So people have enough time for dinner and all that.
Yeah.
Next month we can
Yeah.
use the robot as the camera.
The
And then talk to the
but
robot.
we have to film the robot in action, right?
Yeah.
That would be interesting. The reason is because I'm actually trying to do some other business, like hotel service robot, which is actually working on the same principle. So they employ this technology called SLAM, SLAM. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that term. It's called simultaneous localization and mapping, meaning the robot knows it's navigating, tracking its own position as well as mapping out the environment.
Self-aware robot.
Yeah, that's the principle
Location
of
aware,
those
location
vacuum
aware.
robot lah. Basically, the more advanced vacuum robots, Xiaomi, they actually use the laser sensor to map out the room, and then they actually,
Self-driving robot.
yeah, self-driving robots. That's
Okay, I gotta head out now, but I will block off the time on the last Thursday of every month.
Yeah.
Henceforth
Oh,
until
okay.
Thursday.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, thanks very much for putting
Yeah.
this together.
Anyone, if you have any question or wants to speak more or you know want
Yeah,
us to cover any topics, then we can let us know. We can try to find the
Yeah, if
experts.
you have discovered something interesting or some hobby that you want to share, some cool tricks. Yeah, for me, I have a cool trick, right? So,
Yeah.
some of the traffic light, right? There's this the old folks, they have this, they tap the old
Yeah,
folks
they tap their
so
transiting
they have a
part.
longer delay, right? So I noticed that for the very old sensors, right, you can actually use a magnet to trick the sensor to turn it on without a old folks card itself. So this is my little discovery. thanks to the COVID, right? So my son happened to pick up a very, very strong magnet. So I just casually tap on the, the sensor. I can share with you the video. And it actually turned on, right? So I was, wow, what is cool is so it doesn't work on the new latest sensor on the traffic light, but the old ones it works. So it's quite cool. I can put
I don't know how you measure old and new now, but anyway.
How you know the traffic light is old?
The box itself, it looks aged. Too much time in the sun. That's old. Yeah. I can send you the video which I took. Very, very interesting. Yeah. Just one of my crazy hacks that I discovered. Really boring, right? Over the COVID, there's a lot of time in your hand to hack around stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks very much, guys. See you.
Yeah.
Okay, nice seeing you.
Thanks a lot for joining. See you next time. Anything else you want to say?
I don't know. We can just keep it
Keep it rolling.
and just stream. Oh. Anyone else?
No, I think it's okay.
So the official program is sort of over, but feel free. I think we can still keep it on and we can chat a bit. Ram, I see you take out your mask now. You're in some kind of a playground. Where are you in Singapore?
Yeah, I'm just doing my walk. Just walking around in my stay place. Yeah.
Oh, Jixiong, long time no see.
Long time no see.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hey, drastic difference. Your profile picture is so professional. Yeah, you gotta keep this thing first.
Yeah.
Don't miss one screw. No, wait by robot now. Wow,
Yeah, there's two different boxes itself. Yeah.
So basically, this one operates the Ubuntu.
Okay.
So I think there's some interface you can operate on the machine itself. Then there's a remote app where you can also Actually, I think you can basically tell that in remotely anyone machine. Basically, I think that's what the remote. You just tell it in and just execute the scripts.
Yep.
For it to do stuff.
So this is the video which I took. You can see. You see, I tap the magnet down there and the sensor is turned on. So it's just one of my play around with the magnet. Yeah, it's a small.
Sorry, man. Sekali you go jail soon, man.
No. Yeah, so it's fun to play with magnets. At home I have lots and lots of magnets. Yeah. So if any old traditional hard disk, right, inside there's one or two very, very strong magnet which you can actually disassemble and use it for fridge magnet or whatever it is. So it's actually quite fun.
Have you ever done the magnets for the ray gun?
Ray gun, no. That one needs a lot of magnets, right?
Yeah, you can buy even like 10 in a row.
Yeah, to cascade the thing. Yeah.
And then it works once, and then they hit them so hard, and then they're all broken.
Yeah.
So your company is it still the same company doing the Wi-Fi? Some kind of Wi-Fi mesh? I can't remember. You're muted.
I cannot.
Okay, I left the company. I joined EMC now, back in Oracle.
EMC is Dell, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm at the EMC part of the business. But now I joined back Oracle. So.
Oh, you went back Oracle. Oracle with Fusionopolis,
yeah, Galaxies.
Oh, okay. I think you all still work from home, right?
Yeah, until further notice.
Wow. Okay.
That's why when I first joined the very day, I think you guys had the meetup in Oracle office. I only rejoined back in December last year.
Yeah. Okay.
So Rob, what do you do? Like you are programmer or?
I'm a system engineer.
System engineer. Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of company? Which company?
I'm currently working for the company name called CorTrack. We are doing in telematics domain, and we are doing a fleet management.
What sort of fleet?
It can be either a truck or a car or a bike or a ship, a boat or whatever. So we are doing fleet management across the globe, and our market is mainly in Africa, South Africa, and our company has recently launched, meaning 4 or 5 years ago, in the Southeast Asia. So our emerging market in Philippines at the moment, and then we have a good number of clients in Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, New Zealand, and Philippines as well. So I'm doing a infra support for the entire Southeast Asia region. So we are heavily utilizing open source technology in our infrastructure domain.
I mean, without going too much into your company secret, is what sort of open source?
We are using a XCPNG for the virtualization, and OpenSUSE for the operating systems.
OpenSUSE.
Yeah, and Zabbix and Cactive for monitoring purpose, and then Ansible for automation stuff, and Graylog for the log management, and we are having a XOA for the VM management. So yeah, these are all pretty much open source tools that we are using day to day.
I don't understand. So, okay, what do you say? What was the last one that you mentioned?
XOA, Zen orchestration, XOA.
XOA, oh, XOA. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So your telematics. So I work on aircraft. So my fleet management is managing aircraft fleet. So if you're talking about remote areas, you guys must be using satellite for.
No. We are using cellular tower to track.
Okay. So not that remote,
not that remote, but the device is connected to the fleet.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, and then it sends the data to the cell tower, and we are mainly relying on GPS. We are doing more into IoT kind of stuff.
IoT. Okay.
We are still in a development progress.
Oh. This where are you walking in Singapore? I see you keep walking.
Yeah, I'm just walking around from Juchat.
Juchat. Wow.
Yeah.
It's my favorite area, but it's because it has good Vietnamese food.
Yes, correct.
I'm only talking about Vietnamese food.
I'm vegetarian. Actually, unfortunately, I can't eat all the Vietnamese food.
No, you can have the some kind of the salad.
Yeah, the Vietnamese spring roll, I like it very much.
Yeah, they're one of the things.
Yeah, and they have some kind of own yellow color dish. I don't know the name, but it is also delicious.
Yeah, vegetarian. You can always hang out with Max because
I know all the good food around, like
Max
all the vegetarian places. I tried almost all of them. Yeah.
In fact, next time when it's safe to visit my office, all of us just had vegetarian food downstairs.
Yeah.
I had a 5-star vegetarian restaurant. Very, very good food. Very popular in Singapore.
Sure, we'll do that next time.
By the way, it's this. I mean, you can feel free to visit. It's called City Hub.
Yeah, it's near Lavender, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know?
Yeah, I'm familiar with that location. I was staying in Jalan Bazaar before, so I know the City Hub.
Yeah, City Hub. So at the ground floor, there's a famous vegetarian restaurant. Very good food. So
yeah.
Max can tell you all. Also, you all can hang out next time.
Sure.
Okay. So shall we just terminate the call?
Yep.
Okay, man.
I think it's getting a bit late, and we need to finish more drinks before it goes.
Next time, only next time. Yeah, we when it's safe, we will meet in person, have a drink together. Long time never see you all.
Yeah.
Let's hope it's not going to take until the end of the year.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully.
Okay. Thanks,
Okay,
everyone.
thanks, guys.
Okay, thanks
All right,
everyone.
bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.